everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Man, it feels pretty different just turning 31 years old just 2 days ago. And today, now that autumn is upon us, I decided to look back at my childhood, and when it comes to Disney, aside from Mickey Mouse, there's no other character that can define anybody's childhood than the beloved, cuddly, and silly Winnie the Pooh. If you may recall, I've looked at 2 Pooh-related movies on my blog show. For example, I've looked at the 2018 live-action standalone sequel, Christopher Robin, which focused on Pooh's best friend, all grown up as a workaholic father, and of course, the Tigger movie from 2000, where Tigger learned a heartwarming lesson involving family. And while I kinda do have plans to blog Winnie the Pooh's first 3 adventures, his animated sequel from 2011, and his other 2 spin-offs, today, I believe, is a good day to look back at Pooh's first direct-to-video movie. But, does it still hold up these days? Well, let's find out. Released to home video on August 5th, 1997, the movie is Pooh's Grand Adventure, The Search for Christopher Robin. So, let's get started. One morning in the 100 Acre Wood, during the first day of fall, Christopher Robin has gone missing, and Winnie the Pooh thinks his best friend has gone far away and is in danger. Along with Tigger, Piglet, Eeyore, and Rabbit, Pooh journeys to the forbidding and terrifying place known as Skull to rescue their friend, meeting many frightening obstacles along the way. So, what are my thoughts on this movie? Well, in my opinion, this film is a childhood classic, and now that I'm older, this film really does warm my heart every time I watch it. But to further explain why I love this movie, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, before I get started, I first saw this movie on VHS at my grandmother's place not long before my Indian Guide camping trip to Catalina, and it was also a movie that I received for my 7th birthday back then. Also, this film was not only Pooh's first direct-to-video movie, but it was also Pooh's first film since The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh back in 1977. The film was produced by Walt Disney Television Animation, whom also did The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh from 1988 to 1991. Also to note, this film, believe it or not, is an entirely original story not based on any of A.A. Milne's classic stories. Although, some elements do derive from in which Rabbit has a busy day and we learn what Christopher Robin does in the mornings, and in which Christopher Robin and Pooh come to an enchanted place and we leave them there from the house at Pooh Corner. As for the animation, well, in my opinion, while it may not top the style that the true House of Mouse is known for, I think Walt Disney Television's style of hand-drawn animation is pretty reminiscent to Pooh's animated TV show. Speaking of which, there are some moments in this movie that bring back memories from a few episodes, like Pooh's Skies, The Night to Remember, Tigger Private Ear, Things That Go Piglet in the Night, etc. And there are a couple dark moments in this movie, like when Pooh and the gang are searching through the Skull Cave, which I think might have been the inspiration for a mini-game in Kingdom Hearts 2. There's a scene where Pooh and the gang go through a thicket of thorns and mutant Venus flytraps, and there's also a running gag where the gang hears strange growling noises, which they assume is a Skullosaurus growl. Now let's talk about a few of the songs, for no Winnie the Pooh movie is complete without them. First, there's Forever and Ever, sung by Pooh and Christopher Robin, while Christopher is trying to tell Pooh something very important before he leaves for school the following day. In my opinion, this song is a very touching song, and it really does show true friendship between a boy and a bear. Next is Adventure is a Wonderful Thing, sung by Owl, before Pooh and his friends set off on their daring journey to rescue Christopher Robin from the Skullosaurus. In my eyes, this song is pretty exciting, despite a few dark imagery. Plus, I think it's a very encouraging song that you might listen to before going on a thrilling expedition. Another song to talk about is Wherever You Are, which is sung by Pooh while his friends are resting for the night during their journey to rescue Christopher Robin. To me, this is the most emotional song in Pooh's universe, next to Your Heart Will Lead You Home from the Tigger movie. Also, I think, aside from being a voice actor, Jim Cummings is a pretty good singer. Plus, this song really brings a tear to my eye every time I listen to it. And I also like where Rabbit comforts Pooh and keeps him warm by using the map as a blanket. Also to mention, I think the end credits version, sung by Barry Coughing and Vonda Shepard, is equally as emotional. Finally, there's Everything Is Right, sung by Pooh and the gang while they march home after reuniting with Christopher Robin. To me, this is such a great song to listen to, and it also feels like an amazing Marching Kin song. Also, I found it pretty funny that the several obstacles that the gang had to go through earlier were just figments of their fears. And now let's move on to the characters and the voice actors who brought him to life. Winnie the Pooh is voiced by veteran voice actor Jim Cummings, who's voiced him ever since the 1980s. As usual, Jim Cummings gives Pooh such an adorable and humble personality, and in this movie, I like when Pooh tries to help three of his friends by comforting them with the advice that Christopher Robin has given him the night before he disappeared. But sadly, Pooh fails due to his inability to remember exactly what he said. Also, I found it not very surprising that the Skullosaurus growl was in reality Pooh's stomach. Christopher Robin is voiced by Brady Blum, who played Marco in Search of Dr. Seuss. To me, like in the shorts and in the TV show, Christopher Robin is a friendly young boy, and he seems to be rather intelligent for a kid his age. Also, Christopher Robin typically acts as a caretaker, guidance presence, or almost a parent figure to most of the characters of the 100 Acre Wood. And I like that Christopher Robin shares a very special connection with Pooh Bear, as the other two are almost inseparable. Plus, I thought the moments where Christopher Robin shares some heart-to-heart conversations with Pooh about growing up and the inevitable of their separation were very touching moments. And I like when Christopher Robin leaves Pooh with the advice that he's braver than he believes, stronger than he seems, and smarter than he thinks. Piglet is voiced by the late John Fielder, whom has been in The Rescuers, Robin Hood, and The Emperor's New Groove. To me, Piglet is one of three important characters in this movie while searching for Christopher Robin. You see, in the beginning of the movie, Piglet is seen climbing his tree while trying to conquer his fear of heights. And later, Piglet gets carried away by a kaleidoscope of butterflies, and Pooh tries to coach him to his safety, but to no avail. Tigger, my favorite character in the Pooh universe, is voiced by the late Paul Winchell, whom has been in the Adventures of the Gummy Bear series, Dr. Seuss on the Loose, Disney's The Aristocats, and The Fox and the Hound. Tigger is the second important character in this movie. For some reason, Tigger's bouncing seems to lack strength to reach anything too high for him, like during the scene where Tigger tries to rescue Piglet from a high tree branch, and when he tries to retrieve half of the torn map. Also, I was really frightened while seeing Tigger trapped on a rotten old log in the middle of a ravine. Rabbit is voiced by the late Ken Sampson, whom I remember as Inspector Jamal from the Chipmunk Adventure. In this film, Rabbit is the third important character in this movie. You see, While Rabbit has been a pretty good leader while guiding Pooh and the others on their journey to Skull, however, as demonstrated during his song, If It Says So, Rabbit seems like someone who doesn't really think for himself and only follows the book or map. But after the gang gets lost in a thick fog, Rabbit suffers a mental breakdown and he admits that he's not smart enough to know where to go or what to do. But after Pooh gets separated from the group while inside Skull, Rabbit makes up for it by devising a plan to reach the Eye of the Skull with additional help from Piglet's bravery and Tigger's strength. Eeyore is voiced by Peter Cullen, best known as Optimus Prime from the Transformers franchise, as well as Monterey Jack from Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and Pete from The Little Engine That Could. In this movie, unlike Rabbit, Piglet, and Tigger, Eeyore is the only character who doesn't seem to accomplish anything while on the journey to Skull. However, I found it frightening when Eeyore falls off a rocky bridge, but it does become funny when he gets his head stuck in a Styracosaurus-shaped log. Owl is voiced by Andrei Stojka, who voiced the King in the Cinderella sequels and the Grim Creeper in Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. In this film, Pooh and the gang visit Owl and ask him for help to read a note that was covered with honey, which Christopher Robin left for Pooh before he went missing. While removing the honey from the note, Owl misreads it, saying that Christopher Robin has gone to a forbidding and faraway place known as Skull, and that Christopher Robin is in danger. However, despite that silly little mix-up, I like that Owl draws a map for the gang to follow, and when he tells them about the dangers they'll be facing along the way, like heffalumps, woozles, jaguars, and the scariest of all, the Skullosaurus. Though, I kind of wish that Owl could have mentioned Bumpities and Spookables. And finally, the narrator is voiced by David Warner, who you may remember from Tron, James Cameron's Titanic, and Mary Poppins Returns. And now for my final words. Overall, for Winnie the Pooh's first movie since 1977, Pooh's Grand Adventure, The Search for Christopher Robin, is a pretty good movie and a childhood classic from the late 90s. While the movie may have a few dark moments, and that characters like Kanga, Roo, and Gopher are absent in this film, I like how it teaches lessons involving bravery, strength, and cleverness, which, now that I think about it, seems kind of reminiscent to what Dorothy's friends had to learn in The Wizard of Oz. Plus, I like the movie's expedition plot, and I think it has an ending that'll leave even the toughest person in tears. Also, the animation and backgrounds are absolutely amazing, the characters are lovable, fun, and memorable, and the songs are absolutely unforgettable. I give this movie a 97% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me next weekend where we look at the newest generation of magical ponies, Mustang Power.